Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Empire Technologies. We are specialized in SAP ERP application and Tally ERP applications. Right now, we are going to cover a new topic, which is accounts payable. Before moving on to the topic, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Rafi Ahmad from Empire Technologies, opposite King Opticians, near Vishnu Upahar Hotel, Sultan Palya Main Road, RT Nagar. My mobile number is 9591509362 and our email address is myztechnologies@gmail.com. Before we start our topics, I would like to request you to share, subscribe and like the video on our channel. Okay, let's move on to our topic, which is called as accounts payable. What is accounts payable? It is one of the submodules in SAP FICO. Okay, what is it? SAP has more than 25 modules, and out of that, one module is called as SAP FICO. SAP FICO has various submodules like accounts payable, accounts receivable, asset accounting, and bank account management, and general ledgers. These are the various submodules in SAP FICO. So out of that 5 topics, we are going to cover one of the topics called as accounts payable. What is accounts payable? Accounts payable is one of the submodules in SAP FICO module. Okay, right, understood? Yeah. Now moving on to accounts payable. What do we mean by accounts payable? Anybody, any idea? Prakash? Santosh? Come in. Okay. Let's move on to accounts payable topic. Okay. If any doubt, any clarification, you can stop me in middle and raise your doubts or questions. Okay. What is accounts payable? Before you touch any topic, you should know the background and history of what it is exactly, the concept, what is the purpose, what is the use. Okay, now we are going to tell a concept of accounts payable. What is accounts payable? Accounts payable cycle is also known as procure to pay or P2P cycle. It is a series of processes which involves the purchase and payments department of the company and carry all necessary activities from placing an order to supplier, purchasing goods and making final payment to the suppliers. Is it clear? Okay. Now we'll move on to the second explanation. Accounts payable is one of the very important submodules of SAP FICO module. What is it? Accounts payable is a submodule of SAP FICO module. What is accounts payable? In simple words, we can define accounts payable is nothing but liability of an organization towards vendor or service providers who have provided the business with goods or services in course of time. Okay. You want to again still simplify the meaning or concept of accounts payable. You can say this when someone asks you in the interview what is accounts payable, you can just tell them accounts payable is nothing but maintaining of accounts related to vendors or suppliers. Is it clear? What is it? Accounts related to vendors or suppliers. Vendors and suppliers both are one and the same. Who is a vendor right now? Who is a supplier? Supplier or vendor is one who, from whom is one. Supplier or vendor is one from whom the business or company purchases goods or services. Okay, we are receiving the goods or services from the other company. They are called as vendors or suppliers, right? Now moving on to the steps followed to complete one accounts payable cycle. This is very important as for the interview purpose. What is it? Everybody accounts payable cycle or accounts receivable cycle, you will have a definite question in the interview, whether it is experience or you are a fresher or you are having a mid-term experience. Okay. What is accounts payable cycle? Accounts payable cycle is nothing but the starting point of a process and in between what are the points and where it ends. Okay. So what are the things that we are going to do? What is an accounts payable cycle? What is accounts payable cycles? Accounts payable cycle is nothing but the processes undertaken by a business or a company from start of a transaction to end of a transaction. Okay. There is a starting point for account cycle. In between, there are many midpoints, and at the end, it will be an end point where the transaction is going to complete. If it is not clear, I will show you the cycle. Okay, the steps which will make the concept very clear to you. So what will happen? You have a company, you are working in a company, you have a company. What is that? You have several departments. Okay, you have MM department, ST department, finance department, IT department. One of the department, IT department, request you to purchase one laptop. Say they raise a request and get approved by the department head and send it to the home. Who is specialized in purchasing? It is MM people, material management people. In the company, material management people are solely authorized to purchase anything from outside. Okay, is it clear? Who is it? Material management people. Okay, there are request for purchase of laptop is raised by one IT department in the organization, and from IT department it reaches to where MM department. MM department, after verifying the information, they prepare another document, RFQ, request for quotation. Okay, they will prepare one RFQ, request for quotation, and send it to the different vendors with whom we already have business and with whom we don't have a business, we send it to them. Minimum 3 to 5 vendors are there. Okay, we'll send them the quotations, request for quotation. Okay, RFQs. Who will send this? MM people will send this RFQ and send it to the vendors or suppliers. Suppliers, when after receiving the request for quotation, they go through the information provided, how many quantity, what is the brand, what is the configuration, and all these things, and they provide the related information. How they provide this related information and how the information from vendor to our company is coming back, it is through quotation. What is it? It is based on the quotation. Okay. Now the information from the vendor to our company is coming through where? Quotation. It is on the letterhead, signed and stamped by the company. Now you receive the quotation from 3 vendors, right? You receive the quotation from the 3 vendors. When you receive the quotation from 3 vendors, they will be having different prices, different type of configuration, and all those things on the different quotations. So we forward this as MM. MM department will forward this to whom? Any guess? To the requester. Who is the requesting department here? IT department. To the IT department. They will go through all the quotations and they will select one. If they are not selecting anyone, they will let us know. You make the selection. We are okay with it. So MM can also make a decision, or we'll send this quotation so that they will get a clear idea what are the products available in the market. IT department will go through all the quotations and select one. If they are not selecting any one quotation, they can go and tell the MM department, It is left to you. You can purchase any one of them. Okay. Now the quotation is selected. The vendor is selected and the quotation is also selected. After the approval from IT department, what is that? The quotation is already approved by IT department, and now department can go ahead and make the purchase. How? We will just simply tell the vendor to supply these items? No, everything will be in black and white. Okay, everything will be in black and white. So what we are going to do? department will prepare a PO. It might be through SAP or some other tools or whatever ERPs they are using. They will prepare a PO. They will prepare a PO and they will provide the details. Who is the vendor? How much quantity they have need? What is the product they have selected? Everything, all the details will be given there. After the PO is finalized, it will be approved by the department managers and it will be processed to whom? Where this PO will go? Exactly. The PO will go to the vendor or supplier. The one selected vendor or supplier, it will go to one selected vendor or supplier. Right? Now the PO is with whom? The vendor or supplier. The vendor will go through all the details and he will supply the materials to our company based on the terms and conditions mentioned in the PO. Right? When the goods, okay, the vendor or supplier is supplying the goods to our company. One laptop, HP laptop is received by our company. What we going to do? We receive this item, HP laptop. We check the configuration. If it is right, if it is everything is accurate and everything is as per the PO, we will accept it. Okay. In a couple of days, the vendor will send us a invoice. If the product is not as per our requirement, as per our PO, we can send this item back to the vendor. Not an issue. In generally 90%, 95% of the time, the product is as per our specification or as per our PO. When the material is accepted, what will happen next? The material is accepted and we will give this material to the IT department who has requested this laptop. Now the vendor is going to send a invoice. That invoice is what? A bill. Bill for what? Bill for purchase. Now we get a bill from the vendor. So what we need to do with the bill? We sit on the bill or what? Prakash, Priyanka. Yes, we need to make the payment within the stipulated time. What is it? We need to make the payment within the stipulated time agreed between the vendor and our company. So what will happen? After checking all the configuration of the product, everything is right. The invoice is received. The invoice is approved by and IT department that they have received this item and that is in good condition. After that, what were the department will be doing this with the invoice? The invoice will be sent to AP department or finance department to make the what? Payments. It can be through check, it can be through cash, it can be RTGS, NEFT or whatever payment method that has agreed upon based on the PO. Now a full cycle is complete. From where the cycle starts? Once a request is there until the payment is made to the supplier, this is the whole cycle. This is called a cycle. In between, there is a process. We get the quotation, we prepare the PO, we get the approval. All this process are called on steps of the accounting payable cycle. Okay. Let's go here again. In detail, we are going to learn about accounts payable cycle. Okay. Let's assume that IT department in XS company requires a new laptop for its employee. Below is the process flow to complete the process of purchasing a new laptop for IT department. Okay, IT department has sent a request. The request is received by whom? MM department. Okay. Now MM department has what? The request from IT department. Based on this request from IT department, they are going to create one RFQ. Request for RFQ is what? Request for quotation. This RFQ is sent to whom? To the vendors or suppliers. In turn, the vendor will supply us with a quotation. We finalize the quote. We finalize the quote and select one vendor and one item. When vendor and select the item. Okay. After this selection, what will happen? These quotations will come back to MM. Okay. MM will do what? MM based on the approved quotation will prepare a PO and send it to the selected vendor. What is it? MM department will prepare a PO and send it to the vendor. PO is nothing but an legal agreement between a company and a vendor that the company is purchasing so and so items based on the terms and conditions mentioned in the PO. Is it clear? Okay. So what is it? What is it we are doing here? We are preparing a PO and sending it to selected vendors. What the vendor will do? Vendor has received the PO. What he will do based on the PO details, he will pack the item and send it to the company. Okay. Now the company is receiving the item from the vendor, right? Goods received is not as per our specification or PO, then we can send back these goods to the vendor. If not, if the goods are good, is as per the requirement of the PO or as per our specification, the goods is as per the report is approved. Okay, we keep it and we give this item to the IT department. Now, after a couple of days, the vendor will send us a what? The vendor will send us a invoice. Invoice for what? Invoice is what? Bill. Bill means what? To make the payment against the purchase. We receive invoice from vendor. Okay. After that, what we are going to do? We take it and keep it and put it on in our box. No. Based on the time limit, we need to make the payment. Invoice approved, sent to AP department for payment. What AP or finance department will do, they will check all the price, whether the price is same as per PO in the bill, quantity is same as per the bill, and the configuration is as per the configuration is as per the PO and the bill, and all the tax calculations are correct or not, they check everything and finance department. If there is any correction or any mistake in the invoice, they send back this invoice or in due process, they will raise a debit note or credit note. If the invoice is correct, what are we going to do? If the invoice is correct, all calculation, PO, receiving, everything is done. Vendor is correct and approved by AP department. What we are going to do? The final step, we are going to make the payment on due date to the vendor. It might be through cash, check, RTGS, NEFT, or any other mode of payment. Is it clear? Prakash, Santosh, Priyanka, ma'am, speak up. Right, thank you. Right? I hope this is clear for you. What is accounts payable and what is the accounts payable cycle, where it starts and where it ends. It might have different companies may be having different points. Invoice verification, PO creation, quotation creation, every point. But you know what is the starting point and what is the end point. The starting point is the request. Ending point is the invoice payment. In between, there might be varying steps followed by different companies. Is it okay? Clear? Okay. Now you are making a PO and you are making a PO on everything. So accounts payable for finance department is that we need to create a vendor. What is it? Who is a vendor? Vendor is one from whom the business purchases goods or services. Okay. So how to configure the vendor in ECC system? SAP ECC system. Okay. What are we doing? In accounts payable, we are creating accounts payable submodule. We are creating a vendor or supplier. Vendor and supplier are one of the same. So what is the first step that we need to do for creating a vendor? We need to create account groups, vendor account groups. What is vendor account groups? Why do we need grouping, vendor grouping? Is it necessary? Yeah, to get clarity of doing business or clarity of transaction for the business, we need to group it. What is the use? What is the use of grouping? We can get customized reports based on the grouping. I will give an example. You have n number of vendors or suppliers. You have vendors who are in Karnataka, who are outside of Karnataka, but within India, and there are vendors who are outside of India. So if you don't group it, what will happen? You are not going to get the reports based on the state, country, or other outside of India. So if you group it, it will simplify your work and provide you clarity for statutory purpose as well as business analysis purpose. Okay, is it clear? So what we are doing, we are creating 3 account groups. What is it? YUS1 domestic, YUS2 national, YUS3 is international. This is the coding vendor account groups. YUS means what? YUS is domestic vendors. When you are creating any domestic vendors means who? Vendors who are within Karnataka. Is it clear? Our criteria of domestic customer YUS1 is that those vendors or suppliers who are within Karnataka will be assigned with this vendor account group YUS1. What about vendors or suppliers who are outside of Karnataka and within India? We are going to, whenever we are creating any vendor or supplier who are outside of Karnataka, but within India, we are going to assign them a group called as YUS1. These are called as national vendors. Is it clear? What is national vendors? National vendors are those vendors who are outside of Karnataka and within India. These vendors or suppliers will be treated as national vendors. Okay, now going out, there are vendors or suppliers who are outside of India. Whenever there is a vendor or supplier who is outside of India, will be assigned with YUS3. YUS3 means what? It is international customer. It will be recognized as international customers. Is it clear? We are creating group 1 for what? Vendors or suppliers who are within Karnataka. Then we are creating a second group who are outside of Karnataka but within India. We are creating a third group who are outside of India. That is international vendors or suppliers. Okay. Good. Now, this is the first step. What is the first step? We are creating vendor account group. Second step is what we need to do? Vendor number ranges. What is vendor number ranges? Why we need number ranges? If there is no number ranges, you cannot differentiate between domestic vendor, customer vendor, national vendors, and international vendors. So if in case you have a vendor You are creating a vendor and you are getting a sequence number of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 10,000. You want to find a vendor group of vendor 100. You type 100 and you find. No, you cannot find it. When you see the number 100, you cannot predict that it is domestic vendor, national vendor, or international vendor. So when we assign number range, that number range will tell you what kind of number it is. Okay. So what we are doing, we are getting three number ranges. What is it? Y1, 1,50,001 and 2, 1,55,000. Right? Just keep this in mind. We are creating another number range, Y2. It is having a number range of 1,55,001 to 1,60,000. And we are creating a number range Y3, which is having a number range 1,60,001 to 1,65,000. What is that? We have created three vendor account groups and we have created three number ranges. What number ranges will help you is it will easily determine or you can easily tell whenever you see the vendor code, you can tell this is a domestic vendor. How you can say when any vendor is having a number range between 1,50,001 to 1,56,000, 55,000. Okay, I'll tell you. 1,52,500. What can be this number? It is falling between 1,50,001 and 1,55,000. Then you can easily say it is a domestic vendor. Okay. Now you are finding any number between 1,55,000. Okay. 1 lakh, 1,57,850. What you can say? Anybody? Yeah. National vendors. Okay, now you come to this third one. You want to find out the vendor account number 1,62,500. You don't have to go to the system and tell. You know what you have created. Whatever number falls between 1,60,001 and 1,65,000, it is called as international vendors. Is it easy? Clear? Priyanka ma'am, Santosh, Prakash. Oh, okay, very clear. Now, what have we done? We have created vendor account groups. We have created number ranges, vendor number ranges. Now, what are we going to do in the third step? We are going to assign this number range, whatever we have created, to the vendor account groups. Okay. So, what we are going to do? What are the groups? YUS1, YUS2, YUS3. There are three groups. YUS1 domestic, 2 is international national vendors. National vendors, and this is what? International vendors. Is it clear? What is it? Our group 1 is domestic vendors, group 2 is national vendors, and group 3 is international vendors. Now we are assigning what? Group 1 with Y1. What will happen? Y1. Y1. Okay, Y1 is what? Y1 is having a number range between 1,50,000 to 1,55,000. So, what is there? When we are using the group to create a vendor, when we are using YUS group, YUS1 group to create a vendor, automatically this number will be selected by the system from this range. It is in sequence. Serially, it will select the number. When you are creating a first vendor using this YUS1 group, okay, after giving all the required data, you click on save. What number will be generated? It will be generated from 1,50,001, first number. Again, after 3 days, you go on, create another vendor under the same group YUS1. What will be the number? 1,50,002. So in the same way, YUS2 also, when you use YUS2 group to create a new vendor, first time it will select the number 1,55,001. Next time, whenever you are adding any more records or vendors to the system using YUS1, it will auto increment 1,55,002, 1,55,003. All those things will go on automatically incrementing by 1. Okay. In the same way, YUS3, when you are using YUS3 group to create a vendor, what is it? When you are using YUS3 group to create a new vendor, okay, first time, what will the number that will be generated? Prakash. Yes, exactly. 1,60,001. 1,60,001. And after that, automatically, whenever you are adding any new vendor to this YUS3 group, automatically the system will assign the next number. 1,60,002, 1,60,003, 1,60,004. Automatically, it goes on incrementing. Got it? So control for the 3 steps, what we are doing. First, we create vendor account groups. Then we create same number of number ranges. Then account groups is assigned with number ranges. What is the use of assigning number ranges? Whenever the group is used to create a vendor, automatically the number is selected from this number range and used to allocate the vendor account number. Okay. Now, what is happening? Vendor account group YUS1 domestic. We have assigned Y1. Y1 is having what? 15,000, 1,50,000, 1 to 1,55,000. What will happen? Now YUS1 will be having a number range of 1,50,000, 1 to 1,55,000. Whenever you are going to use this group YUS1 to create a new customer, automatically the number is picked up from this range. This range is coming into use. What is the range? Already used number will not be again reused. It will go on serially or incrementing by 1. First time it will use 1,50,001. Next you create under the same group YUS1. It will go on adding by 1. 1,50,002, 1,50,003, 1,50,004. Is it clear? See here, this diagram also will show you what is it exactly. Okay, when you are using this group to create a new vendor, what will happen? For the first time, it will, or when you save the data, when all the data, required data is supplied by the user, when you save it, what will happen? The system will allocate a number to the vendor. This is called as vendor account number. Vendor account number, first time for YUS3 will be 1,60,001. Next time when you add for the same group, it will go on incrementing by 1. The system will use it until the last number, which is 1,65,000. Is it clear? Okay, very good. Now, so while creating a new vendor using XK01, what is the T code we are using to create a new vendor? XK01. We need to enter the below details in the first screen. Okay, example 1. First, when we enter vendor account group YUS1 and company code YUS1, purchasing organization is optional. We will click on enter. It goes to the next screen, and after entering the required data in the next couple of screens, what you do? You click on save. What will be the number that will be assigned to this vendor? The first number will be 1,50,001. After 2 days, you add the new vendor for the same group. It is from Karnataka. The same vendor is from Karnataka. Okay, this vendor is also from Karnataka. So what you do, you use this YUS group and YUS company. Next, what it will do, it will, after saving, it will give the number as 1,50,002. Now, after this, again, when you use this YUS group, YUS1 group, it will give 1,50,000 3. Automatically it will increment until where it will go? Last number is what? That the vendor can be issued a number 1,55,000. Okay, unless this number gets exhausted, it will go on adding 1,111 until it reaches 1,55,000. Okay, this is for one. Okay, next example two. You are using when you're creating a vendor XK01, you are using vendor account group by US2, then you are using company code by US1. All this when you click on enter, it will go to the subsequent screen. You enter the data and you save it. What will be the number that it will be allocating to the vendor? Because it is national vendors, because it is what? National vendors. National vendor group is what? It is 1,55,000 to 60. That will be assigned. What will be the first number? 1,55,001. First, when you create this number will be allocated 1,55,001. And subsequently, when you go on adding the same group to the same group new vendors, it will go on adding what? 1,55,002, 1,55,003, 1,55,004. Until where it will go? 1,60,000. This is the last digit this group can use. YUS2 can use the last number up to 1,60,000. Right? What is the last number that YUS1 can use domestic vendors? It can use up to 1,55,000. You can define as per your requirement. There is no restriction. Okay. Now going to example 3. Vendor account group is YUS3. Okay. This is international. International vendors. Okay. This is international vendors. So what you do? You are using international vendors group. When you enter, when you click on enter here, what will happen? My friends, what will happen? Just let me know. You go to the next screen. In couple of screens, you enter the required data and you click on save. What will be the number that it will get generate, system will generate and assign it to the vendors? It will assign the number range 1,60,001. Why? Because this group has a starting range of 1,60,001 to 1,65,000. Okay. Subsequently, when you go on adding to this group new vendors, what it will be do? 1,60,000 to 1,60,000 3, and until where it will go? 1,65,000. Okay. When you are using this YUS3 to create international vendors, what will be the last number that you are going to use? 1,65,000 will be used by the system. Is it clear? Okay. Before we go on to do the create a vendor, new vendor, before we go on to create a new vendor, I will just brief you what are the important prerequisites to be configured before you create a new vendor. What is it? The first one is we need to create an account group. Second one is what? We need to create a number range. Third one is what? We need to assign account groups to number range. Fourth one is what? We need to create a recon GL account. What is the recon GL account for accounts payable? There is an interview question. What is recon account for accounts payables? What is it? What you will say? It is what? Sundry creditors. My friends, this is all important topics and important points. Write it down somewhere and don't mess up with anything. It's very, very crucial. These are all interview questions. Okay. What is the recon account for accounts payable? Sundry creditors. Okay. Okay. Now we will move on practically to create a vendor. What is the T code? The key T code is XK01. What is it? XK01. Okay, we'll log in right now. Okay, we are into the screen. What is the T code? /N XK01. We are on the screen, create vendor screen, which I showed you previously. This is the first screen. You don't have to enter anything. This is not for you. Okay. What we need to do, we need to understand what the screen is asking you. Company code is what? I am giving it as, I have my own company code here, SAL1. Purchase organization is optional. If you MM and FI is integrated, then you need to give the purchase organization. Right now, we are not integrating MM with FICO. We are creating a vendor which is central vendors. Okay. Account group is what? SAL1. Now what we need to do? Click on enter. Right? What are we? It is asking what? Is it a company? It is a Mr. Mrs. Whatever it is. You put it as company. Okay. Indian Electricals Company Limited. Okay. Then you want to give something like IEC 123. This is for search. There is nothing like this in this. Okay. What is this star mark? Why it is appearing in this box? Why not in other boxes? This star box implies that mandatorily you need to enter the data in this box. Mandatorily. If you do miss to enter any data in this box or you forget to enter the data, then the data is not going to be saved and it will system will not accept this data. Okay, then we are going to give what country is our country is IN and region you can give anything. Okay, we'll create it for Karnataka. Karnataka is what 10. Okay, now click on enter. I am giving the minimum data. Maximum data is more. Okay, I am giving the minimum data. Click on enter. Now we are moving on to the second screen. It is asking whether this vendor what you are creating is also your customer. No, he is not our customer. He is only our vendor. Don't enter anything. These are the tax details which we need to enter here. Click on enter. Okay. This is what? This is the bank information which we need to enter it. Okay. So right now we will skip this. The important thing is that we need to create a vendor in a very clear and simple way. Okay. Just click on enter. Click on enter. So what it is asking? It is asking a recon account. What is the recon account? I just told you. What is the recon account? I just told you. Anybody, any idea? What is the recon account for? Accounts payable? It is sundry creditors. We will go and check whether this sundry creditors is created already in company SAL1 or not. Okay. Is it clear? We will go and check whether this is created or not. Where this sundry creditors will be, it will be in where? Liability side. Okay, 5,002. It is showing 5,000 store. We will go and 5,000 store. Now 5,000 store. Now it is showing something here. What does it mean? It is the mandatory field. Mandatory field means what? It cannot be left blank. Mandatorily, you need to enter some kind of data in this. If you have any doubts regarding this, click on the option here and go and select an option here, right? Now click on enter. Now you are going where? You are going to the next screen. Here it is asking payment terms. We'll cover this payment terms in our next video in detail. This is a very crucial and important lifeline of any accounts receivable and accounts payable submodules. This is the lifeline. Payment terms and terms of payment is the what? Lifeline of accounts payable cycle and accounts receivable cycle. Without this, the accounts payable cycle and accounts receivable cycle cannot move. Okay, we'll just select this and click on payable immediately. That means what? Cash. This is immediately. Whenever you receive the goods, you are going to make the payment immediately. Right? We are going to not going to use anything here. Click on enter. What is this? We don't have anything to do. We click on enter. So guess what will be the number assigned to it?